You ever had a tank that you're just bored out of your mind with? Sitting there doing nothing. You've had it set up for a year, 2 years, and you just don't know what to do with it. So what do? Well, you can break it down and start over. Or you can take the Father Fish approach. Well, hello. Come right on in. You're at Father Fish. Hi there. I had a follower recently say to me, I'd love to see you do a video on that old aquarium that needs to be broken down. Well, I thought about that and I thought, wow, what a terrific idea. You ever had a tank that you're just bored out of your mind with? Sitting there doing nothing. You've had it set up for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. Fish live in it fine, but it's boring. And you just don't know what to do with it. It doesn't seem to give you any real flexibility either. You try putting plants in it and they don't make it. So what do? Well, you can break it down and start over. Or you can take the Father Fish approach. What's that one thing you can do that is going to solve the problem and give you a tank that's going to be stable and strong and healthy and flexible and allow you to go on with something really, really exciting? I'm going to show you a picture. This is kind of long distance, and see that tank over there? That tank is 20 years old. It's full of plants. Now, it wasn't always full of plants. I got the tank about 15 years ago. When it had been set up for 5 years, it's a 30-gallon long. It's 4 foot long. Same footprint as a 55, but about 8 inches shorter. I really liked the tank. I was excited to get that shape and size tank. It had gravel, about 1.5 inches of gravel. Had been in there for years. Somebody got it set up, didn't pay much attention to it. There it was. I brought it over to my old shop and I looked at that and I thought, that tank has been set up for 5 years. It's got to have some life in it that is worth saving and worth protecting, worth maybe even giving a chance to grow out and to do more. So I did a very simple thing, and it's something you can do that is as easy as can be. You don't need to take the water out. You can get a bag of sand. You can get it from the backyard if you want to, so long as it doesn't have cigarette butts and old oil in it. You gotta go down to the creek and collect some sand from the creek. Doesn't matter what kind of sand. Any kind of sand will do. It really makes no difference so long as it's inert. Now, what does that mean? That means it's not going to dissolve in the water. It's not made out of calcium or oyster shell or some kind of ground coral. It's silica, maybe even just crushed granite, whatever. Sand. But I think you know what sand is. All right. So pour sand in there. Leave the gravel, whatever is in there, leave it there. Don't touch it. Don't do a thing to it. Absolutely do not clean it. Leave it alone and pour 2 inches of sand right on top of that old substrate, whatever it is. Marbles, I don't care, anything. Whatever it is, if it's been there for a long time and it's got a lot of gunk down inside it, maybe it's an under gravel filter. You know that tube that comes up that the air goes down in? Unscrew it. Pull it out. Now you have a plenum for whatever that's worth. Leave it there. Don't touch it. Don't do a thing to it. Pour 2 inches of sand on top of that gravel, on top of that old substrate. That's it. That's the secret. That's the magic formula. That's going to give you a brand new tank like the one I was just showing you. Why is that? Because it will allow all of that living material that's down in there to begin to break down. It'll create an anaerobic environment where it'll break down into its component parts such that plants or the roots of plants will be able to assimilate them, will be able to feed them. That's one thing it does. The other thing it does that is equally as important is it holds all of that down in the bottom. You know what detritus is? You know what mulm is? It's that gunk that hides in the corner and piles up, and you swish the water a little and it goes poof. You put 2 inches of sand in there, and guess what happens to that stuff? It precipitates, sifts down into the sand. It disappears, it goes away. Now, after a while, there may be some more of it, and put a little more sand in. You have to have that sand deep enough to be able to handle the mulm, the detritus that's being created. It sifts down in it slowly, so you need it deep enough to handle all that. If you get a little bit of mulm on top, add a little bit of sand, just a little, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch tops. But start with 2 inches of sand on top of your old substrate, and then get some plants. You can get them out of the local pond. Doesn't matter where you get them. You want aquatic plants, plants that are going to live in water. Stick them down in there. Now, with the brand new tanks that we teach people to set up, we teach them not to put that plant too deep down in there because we have a lot of chemicals that are just starting to bubble and boil. And it takes them a while to work themselves out and calm down and become stable. But in this old tank, you've already got that. So stick the plant roots down in there. You can put them down as far as you care to. Watch what happens. It will begin growing the most beautiful, luxurious aquarium you have ever had. It will give it a whole new life. Now, you put some fish in there, they're going to love it because all of a sudden, that sand is creating little microscopic life, little microfauna. And your little fish, that's what they are searching for. They go around, they find food. If you add some leaves, some old leaves, get them out of a creek if you can, pond. They have more life in them. Put a little bit of that in there. That'll create more of that culture. And your fish will love it. They will go crazy over it. You'll create a food web. You'll create a balanced tank. You'll create what's more important, a natural tank. Well, it's Father Fish, just full of good ideas. Come on over to Discord. Join us there. You can post a picture of that tank. Links down below. See y'all soon. Take care for now. Bye-bye.